Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel Legal Decipher. In the previous video, we had discussed about chapter 15 of the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973. If you have not seen that video, you can go and check it. The link is in the description below. Today we are going to talk about chapter 16 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. We'll go through the chapter and try to understand how the Criminal Procedure Code is followed and how the criminal codes work. So if you are new here, you can like and subscribe to my channel so you can get the video notifications. So let's get started. So today we are going to talk about chapter 16. It is about commencement of proceedings before magistrates. So section 204 says issue of process. So if the opinion of a magistrate who is taking cognizance of an offence is that there are sufficient grounds for proceedings and the case appears to be either a summons case or a warrant case. So when a magistrate takes cognizance of an offence and he thinks that there is sufficient ground to proceed with this case, and if the case is a summons case, then he will issue summons for the attendance of the accused, or if he finds out that it is a warrant case, then he may issue a warrant, or if he thinks fit, he may also issue a summon for causing the accused to be brought or to appear at a certain time before such magistrate. Now, no summons or warrant shall be issued against the accused under subsection 1 until a list of the prosecution witnesses has been filed. So, the prosecution has to file a list of witnesses prior to the issue of summons. Okay. Now, if a proceedings is instituted upon a complaint and it is made in writing, such complaint is made in writing, then every summons or warrant issued under subsection 1 shall be accompanied by a copy of such complaint. So the copy of the complaint that is filed before such magistrate will be forwarded with such summon or warrant, as the case may be, to the accused. Now, when by any law for the time being in force, any process fees or other fees that are payable, then if such fees are not paid within a reasonable time, the magistrate may dismiss the complaint. So if it appears to the magistrate that there is a certain amount of process fee or other fee, any other kind of fee that is to be paid for the institution of such proceedings, then if such fees are not paid within a reasonable time, then the magistrate may also dismiss the complaint. So process fees or other fees that are payable are extremely important in filing a complaint before the magistrate. Now, nothing in this section shall be deemed to affect the provisions of section 87. Okay, so section 87 will not be disturbed by these provisions. Now, section 205 talks about magistrate may dispense with personal attendance of accused. So the accused may be dispensed with, or the accused may be excused from personally attending if the magistrate thinks fit. So whenever a magistrate issues a summon, then it is the duty of the accused person to appear before the court. But if he sees reason to do so, which means the magistrate, if he sees reasons that there are reasons to do so, then he can dispense with the personal attendance of the accused and permit him to appear by his pleader only. So his appointed advocate will only move before the court, but he will not have to personally attend before the court. Now, if the magistrate inquiring into or trying the case in his discretion at any stage of the proceedings, if he thinks fit, then he can also direct the personal attendance of the accused. So during the trial or the inquiry of the case and at any stage of such proceeding, it is the discretionary power of the magistrate to call upon the accused at any time necessary if he thinks that enforcing the attendance is extremely necessary. Then he may order the accused to appear before him in the manner herein before provided. Now, section 206 talks about special summons in cases of petty offenses. So, what is a petty offense? We will read in subsection 2. First, let's understand subsection 1. It says that if, in the opinion of a magistrate who is taking cognizance of a petty offense, then if the case may be summarily disposed of under section 260 or 261, then the magistrate shall issue summons to the accused. So, if the magistrate understands that this is a petty offense and there will be a summary trial under section 260 or 261, then the magistrate will issue summons upon the accused and require him to either appear in person or by pleader before such magistrate on a specified date. And if he desires to plead guilty to the charge without appearing before the magistrate, that means the accused is desiring to plead guilty to the charge that is made against him, then he may do so without even appearing before the magistrate. He will have to transmit his intentions before the specified date by a post or by messenger to the magistrate. Now, the said plea in writing and the amount of fine that is specified in the summons will also have to be paid. And if he desires to appear by pleader and to plead guilty to the charge through such pleader, that means his advocate will appear for him and plead guilty before the court, then he can also do so. He will have to authorize in writing to such pleader or advocate, and the advocate or the pleader will plead guilty to the charge on the behalf of the accused and pay the fine through his advocate. Now, provided that amount of the fine specified in such summons shall not exceed 1000 rupees. So, the maximum amount of fine will be 1000 rupees and not more than that. Now, let's understand what petty offenses means. It means any offense which is punishable only with fine. So, it is not attracting any imprisonment, it is only fine, and it is not exceeding 1000 rupees. So the fine limit will be a maximum of 1000 rupees. Generally it is below 1000, but the maximum amount is 1000, and it does not include any offense so punishable under Motor Vehicles Act. So the offenses that are punishable under the Motor Vehicles Act do not include petty offenses or any other law which provides for convicting the accused person in his absence of a plea of guilty. So, if there is such an offense, the punishment of which will be imprisonment if that person is absent on his guilty plea, then that offenses will not also include into petty offenses. Now, subsection 3 says the state government may by notification specially empower any magistrate to exercise the powers that are conferred by subsection 1 in relation to any offense which is compoundable under section 320, or any offense punishable with imprisonment for a term not exceeding 3 months, or with fine, or with both, where the magistrate is of opinion that having regard to the facts and circumstances of the case, the imposition of fine only would meet the ends of justice. So the state government will by notification specially empower a magistrate to exercise the powers of subsection 1 in relation to offenses that are compoundable. What is a compoundable offense? A compoundable offense is an offense that can be settled outside court, and under section 320 or any other offense punishable with imprisonment that does not exceed 3 months. Now, section 207 talks about supply to the accused of copy of police report and other documents. So, in any case where the proceedings has been instituted on a police report, so if the proceedings has started due to institution of a police report, and the magistrate in this case shall without delay furnish to the accused free of cost a copy of each of the following. So, in this case the magistrate will furnish a copy of these things free of cost to the accused without delay. What are those things? The police report, the first information report that is recorded under section 154, which we know as the FIR, The statements recorded under subsection 3 of section 161, that is the 161 statements of all the persons whom the prosecution proposes to examine as its witness, excluding therefrom any part that was to be excluded on request of a police officer, that we read under subsection 6 of section 173. Now, the confessions and statements that are recorded under section 164 will also be provided. So the 164 statements will also be provided, and any other document or relevant extract therefrom forwarded to the magistrate with the police report under subsection 5 of section 173 will also be provided free of cost to the accused person. Now, provided that the magistrate may, after perusing any such part of the statement as is referred to in clause 3, and considering the reasons given by the police officer for the request, direct that a copy of the part of such statement or such portion thereof as the magistrate thinks proper shall be furnished to the accused. So the accused will also be furnished with the copy of such part of statement as referred to in clause 3, considering the reasons given by the police officer for such request. Now, provided further that the magistrate, if satisfied that any document referred to in clause 5 is voluminous, then he shall, instead of furnishing the accused with a copy thereof, direct that he will only be allowed to inspect it either personally or through pleader in court. So if the document that is to be provided to the accused is of such a volume that it cannot be given a copy of, then the accused will be allowed to inspect it personally when he appears before the court, or his pleader can go through such document when his pleader will move before the court. Now, section 208 talks about supply of copies of statements and documents to accused in other cases triable by court of sessions. So where a case is instituted other than on a police report, and it appears to the magistrate who is issuing the process under section 204 that the offence is triable exclusively by a court of sessions. So the magistrate, upon getting such complaint before him, understands that the offence is triable exclusively by a court of sessions and it is beyond the powers of magistrate to try such case. Then the magistrate shall without any delay furnish the accused with free of cost copy of each of the following. They are the statements recorded under section 200 or 202 of all persons those are examined by the magistrate. Also the statements and confessions that are recorded under 161 or 164, or any documents produced before the magistrate on which the prosecution proposes to rely his case upon. Now, provided that if the magistrate is satisfied that any such document is voluminous, then he shall do the same. Instead furnishing the copy of such voluminous document, he may direct that he will only be allowed to inspect it either personally or through pleader in a court. Now, section 209 talks about commitment of cases to court of sessions when offence is triable exclusively by it. So, under 209, a case is committed to a court of sessions. So, commitment is done under section 209. This is a very important section. When in a case instituted on a police report or otherwise, the accused appears or is brought before the magistrate and the magistrate understands that he has no jurisdiction to try such case, that this case is exclusively triable by the court of sessions, then he shall commit that case, but after complying with the provisions of section 207 or 208. So first the provisions of section 207 and 208 will be complied with, and then after it will be committed to the court of sessions under section 209. And until such commitment is done, the accused will be put to custody. So the accused will always be remanded to custody during and until conclusion of the trial, and sent to the court the record of the case and the documents and articles which are to be produced in evidence. So the magistrate will entirely send the whole record along with all the documents and articles that are filed with such record. he will send it all to the Court of Sessions and notify the public prosecutor of the commitment of the case to Court of Sessions. So the Court of Sessions has a public prosecutor and he will be notified by the magistrate that such case has been committed to the Court of Sessions. Now, the last section, that is 210, talks about procedure to be followed when there is a complaint case and police investigation in respect of the same offense. So what does section 210 say? It says that an offense has occurred and regarding that offense a complaint case has been filed as well as a police investigation has initiated. So in this case, when it appears to the magistrate during the course of inquiry or trial held by him that a complaint case and a police investigation are simultaneously in progress in relation to the same offense, then the magistrate shall stay the proceedings of such inquiry or trial and call for a report on the matter from the police officer conducting the investigation. So the magistrate will always stay the proceedings or inquiry or trial and call the police report. Okay, the police officer who is conducting the investigation will be required to send the police report to the magistrate. Now, if a report is made by the investigating officer under section 173 and on such report cognizance of any offence is taken by the magistrate against the person, then the magistrate shall inquire into and try together the complaint case and the case arising out of the police report as if both the cases were instituted on a police report. So both cases will be tried as if they were instituted through a police report. Now, if the police report does not relate to any accused in the complaint case, or if the magistrate does not take cognizance of any offence on the police report, then he shall proceed with the inquiry or trial which was stayed by him in accordance with the provisions of this code. So if the police report does not relate to any accused who is an accused in the complaint case, or if the magistrate does not take cognizance of any offence of the police report, then he shall proceed with the inquiry or trial which was stayed by him. So he will again proceed with the inquiry or trial, setting aside the stay, and in accordance with the provisions of this code it will be done. So that's all in this video. If you like my videos, then don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching this video.